Today, I'm going to talk about every Microbrand watch that's in my collection right now. One thing the watch taught me, one thing I'd change. Let's get into it. Raven is a Microbrand based out of Kansas that specializes in making tool watches for spec enthusiasts. The Endeavor 2 is a limited edition diver's watch that debuted in 4 different colorways. I own the Carolina Blue dial. One thing I learned from the Endeavor 2 is you can quite literally own a watch that has everything you'll ever need under $1,000. Ceramic bezel, sapphire crystal, screw down crown, great bracelet with on-the-fly micro adjust, drilled lugs, and the most amazing lume, and an extraordinary water resistance depth rating at 500 meters. This watch really makes you question what you're paying for with other brands that offer less spec for more money. It's been a great watch for me, and it's the perfect work watch. One thing I change about the Endeavor 2 is the size. Thickness at 12 millimeters is excellent for a dive watch, but the case diameter at 43 millimeters is a bit big. I think if this watch was at 40 millimeters, it'd honestly be the perfect watch, but the current configuration doesn't stop me from wearing it. I bought the Lhotse Olympia as a response to my recently acquired Tag Heuer Carrera. I wanted to know for sure if there were any noticeable differences between a Microbrand and a luxury watch in the same genre of watch. I did a whole comparison video if you want to go in depth, but in summary, the Lhotse is really impressive and I think holds its own against the Tag. One thing I learned from the Lhotse is Hesalite is really not that bad and doesn't make a watch any less of a watch. When I'm wearing the Olympia, I don't even notice the crystal. Even with the Hesalite, it's fantastic in its presentation and it really does evoke a watch design in the 1960s. One thing I change is the bracelet. I'd like to see a different variety of finishing, maybe some polished surfaces to give it some dressy upside. Outside of that though, the bracelet is fantastic and does the job. South Korean Microbrand Pitzmann has created a buzz since its inception in 2023. They've been on a run of great releases and every watch they've released has a good blend of good design and good value for dollar. The first Pitzmann is a modernized pocket watch for the wrist style dressy casual piece for around $1,000. I enjoyed my time with it, and one thing I learned owning this watch is late 19th century, early 20th century design is the antithesis of Bauhaus. Both are beautiful design approaches, but I feel like as much as you'd want to modernize a pocket watch-esque dial, it'll always look traditional, and same goes for the opposite. I can't imagine wearing a nomos with a tuxedo, and sometimes I felt the Pitzmann felt too dressy when I was dressed casually. One thing I change about the Pitzmann is the movement. I personally don't mind Japanese movements, and I'd like to see a higher end Miyota or Seiko movement in this watch with a lower price tag. If the movement isn't regulated or certified in any way, having a Swiss-made movement inside isn't really that big of a selling point, at least to me. The Ocean to Orbit Lhotse is one of my favorite watches in my collection right now. Perfect dimensions, has a great design, and contrary to some of you haters on the net, I like the name and the story the brand tells. The Lhotse is GATA certified and a watch I enjoy every time I wear it. One thing I learned from this watch is that I'm not as crazy about dive watches as I thought I once was. I had a great run with the Tissot PRX, but the Tissot was a watch I'd never wear to work. It always felt more like a going out type of watch to me. But once I got the Lhotse, I understood why some enthusiasts swear by their Oyster Perpetuals and Aquaterras. One thing I change about the Lhotse is the movement. Similarly to the first Pitzmann, Swiss-made isn't a huge selling point to me, especially if the movement isn't regulated or certified in any way. I think it's safe to say that Unimatic has carved out a niche and we love all of their watch releases. I bought the UT4 because I thought I was going on a 9-day work trip to Mexico City. The job ended up canceling, but the watch already found a special place in my heart, so I ended up keeping it. One thing I learned from this watch is to never buy a quartz GMT unless it's a Casio World Time or a Grand Seiko. The GMT complication on this Ronda quartz is not very impressive. If you want to learn more, watch the full review on my channel. Other than the GMT, I wouldn't change anything about this watch. If you're interested in the tool watch line from Unimatic, save a few bucks and buy the non-GMT version. Is Christopher Ward a Microbrand? I made a whole video about the topic if you want to get my take on it. The C1 Moonphase is one of the most beautiful watches ever made. It's unique, it's one of a kind, it's well built with great finishing. One thing I learned from the C1 Moonphase is how a commitment to an idea must be followed by good execution. I understand the angst that comes with introducing a new idea. Development of a new watch can take months, years even. And if you've ever been on a long-term project before, you know how easily confidence can rise and fall depending on where you're at with its progress. The C1 Moonphase was very well received, which I'm sure was a sigh of relief for the C-Ward team. The photorealistic moon mixed with the aventurine dial really makes it feel like you're wearing an art piece on your wrist. It's absolutely stunning. One thing I'd change with this watch is the strap it comes with. I like the strap, but I think for a watch that will exclusively be worn in dress settings, it doesn't need a sport-like deployant clasp. I think a nicely tapered, non-cushioned strap with a tang buckle would be more suitable for this watch. I think microbrand collecting is for people that value a good deal and like to be outside the box a bit. Grail seekers and hypebeast collectors won't really understand the vision microbrands try their hardest to present to their audience. It's not a bad thing, and I'm not one to judge what your interests are and how you collect. I find, personally, the microbrand space the most exciting in watch nerdism, and if you find the right one, it could be a staple in your collection for the rest of your life. I'd love to hear about the microbrand watches you own. In the comments, tell me your favorite watch from a micro, one thing this watch taught you, and one thing you'd change. And if you think this is acceptable content, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. That would help me out a lot. I'm in the process of moving some watches out of my collection. I'll have them up on my eBay store soon. I'll leave the link down below if you're interested to see what I have for sale. That's it from me today. Big love, take care of yourself, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.